Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how do I take a Kaggle challenge and how do I approach a problem. So if you are not familiar with Kaggle.com, it's a platform where you can either compete or learn about data science. So let's go ahead and go to competitions. And once you are in the competition section, you can see all the active competitions, and here are the 6 competitions I have entered. So we are going to look into TensorFlow 2.0 question answering competition. So let's go ahead and click on that one. So the competition is about answering natural language processing questions. Or rather answering questions in natural language. So for example, why is the sky blue? And then we will be provided with Wikipedia article and we have to answer the question based from the Wikipedia content. Um, so typically when I join the competition for the first time, I go ahead and look at the description, and I would really encourage you to do that. I have briefly looked at the description, so I know what does this say. And then here you can see the evaluation metrics that they are going to use for evaluating the leaderboard, which is here. Then the prizes you can win, timeline for the competition, getting started, so how you should get started. So they have provided some notebooks for getting started, and then the code requirements. So go ahead, pause the video and have a look at it if you like. If not, then continue watching and I'll show you what is there. So now we are in the data part. So this explains briefly what does data look like. So what should I expect the data format to be? And it says that you will be provided with a Wikipedia article, a related question, and then a candidate and the candidate long form answer. So the competition is about answering the question, but you can have two type of answers. So you can have really short answer, so precise answer, and then you can also have a long answer, so with a lot of description or some description, right? And then what am I predicting? So for each article and then question pair, you must predict slash select long and short form answers to the question. So basically we are provided with an article and a question, and then we have to answer the question. This is very briefly the goal. So the target variable is basically the answer of that question. And then these are the 3 files they have provided us. First one is simplified nqtrain.jsonl. So that contains the training data, which is obvious from here, train data in new line delimited JSON format. So what that means is each record of the training data is one JSON, and then all of these JSON records are delimited by a new line. So each new line contains one record, which makes our life easier because we don't need to read through the whole JSON, but rather one record at a time. So that is quite convenient. And then we have test JSON file, and then we have sample submission, and then here we have data fields. So looks like each record contains 6 data fields. First one is document text, so that's the Wikipedia article. Then we have question text, so the actual question that needs to be answered. Then we have long answer candidates, which is a JSON array containing all of the plausible long answers. So looks like they have provided us with possible long answer suggestion or candidates, and we have to select one of them, which is the appropriate long answer. Then we have annotations, which is a JSON array containing all of the correct long and short answers. So this is basically our target variable. So for the question, we will have either a long, short, or both of them answer. And obviously that's only provided for train. And then we have document URL, which will be the URL of the Wikipedia article. Most probably we are not going to need it, so we can ignore it for now. And then we have they have provided us a unique ID for each sample, so that is also not relevant, at least from the modeling point of view. So we will go ahead and look into each of these fields. This was just a brief description. So let's go to the notebook section. Here you can see all the public notebooks which are there. We are just going to go ahead and create a new notebook, and all the notebooks that I'm going to create will be public, so you can either run it in parallel with me or you can go ahead and have a look at it afterwards. So Select language. I like Python, so I will go ahead and go with Python, and then select type of the notebook. So either you can have a notebook or you can have scripts. So notebooks are very good for this interactive data exploration. We can see quickly the output, and scripts are great when you want to either feed a model or you just want to have inference part. So we will have notebook. Advanced settings, so GPU on or off. I don't need GPU now. We will need it when we train the model, so for now I'll keep it off. And then Google Cloud Services, so which I also don't need now, so I will just go ahead and create a notebook, and I will name it EDA, so exploratory data analysis, and then we call it version 1. Okay, so every time you create a new kernel notebook, you will be provided with some very basic code. So here I will just remove whatever I don't need. So this is just some basic description I don't need. I need NumPy, pandas most probably, and then they say the input data files are available in input directory, which is Kaggle and input. Here I don't need these two lines, so I'll just delete them. And then I have NumPy, pandas, and OS. And I will just delete this file also. So if you are not familiar, what this code is doing is just going through this directory Kaggle and then input, and then printing the printing the name of each file in this directory. If you don't know how to run a cell, you can just press Control and then enter together, and this gives me the output that I am provided with these three files which we saw earlier. We have test file, sample submission, and then we have train file. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a quick look at the data. So whenever I approach a data science problem, I go ahead and have a quick, very brief look at the data, and then I have some sort of architecture in my mind based on the data, and then I go ahead and finish the very rough architecture, and then I go ahead with exploratory data analysis in details and then improve my model further. In this exercise, for now we are just going to have a quick look at the data, and in the next videos we are going to develop the model, do more exploratory data analysis, and then we will improve on our model and then make some submissions and see how do we score on Kaggle leaderboard. So let's go ahead and read train file. Let's just read one record from the train file. So for that I'm just going to create base path, which will be in our case this one, and then we have train file path, or rather train file name, right? So I will just run them. If you don't know how to create new cells, you can press escape while it is focused. So now it is still focused, but the cursor is not there, and you can press either B, which creates a new cell below it, and A, and that creates one cell above it. So I just created a new cell, and now we are just going to read one line from the file. So this is how you can do it. So with open, so I'll just open the file, and then os.path.join. That's basically joining the path. So I just realized there is a typo here. Base path, just quickly run it. Base path, and then train file name as file, and then I'm just going to read one line from the file. So file.readLine. And what we see is one JSON record from the training file. Now, in order to parse this JSON, we have to do something with JSON package. So we can go ahead and import JSON. I'll just run it, and then I can just say JSON. So if you're not familiar with JSON package, I would encourage to have a look at it. And what it basically does is it takes a string which is coming from this file.readline and then parse the string into a JSON format. So you won't see much of difference here. So now I'm just reading the files or one line from the file and then parsing it into a JSON and then printing it. So right, okay, so we don't see a lot of difference here. Instead of string, this is just a JSON file. Now we need to make it a pandas data frame in order to operate it in a nicer way, because working with JSON directly will be a bit of problem. So what we can do is we can go ahead and make a loop, read one record at a time, and let's take a sample of 10 records and parse it into a data frame. So we can go ahead and do something like train records equal to this. It's now okay, so train records equal to a list. So we just created a new list, and what, instead of printing it, we will just go ahead and append train records dot append this record. What this will do is it will just append one record, but since we want to have several records to be appended, we can cut it here, and let's make variable line equal to file.readline, and then we will say until the point we can read the file. So while line is not none, we can append it, and then we have to say line equal to file.readline again. And since we don't want to read all the records, we will just define a variable called max records equal to 10, and then current record. So don't worry if you are not familiar with this part. In very basic terms, I'm just reading a file. I'm just trying to read 10 lines from the file. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with Kaggle here, but I'll just rerun it. Somehow session is getting disconnected. Okay, so every time I read a line, I will just say current record equal to current record plus 1, and then if current record is greater than max records, then I will just say break my loop. So this way I'm just going to read 10 lines and append it to train records. So let's print it here. Boom. Oops. One positional argument is missing. Of course it is missing. So I just have to say that json.loads line. And okay, now as you can see here, if you are familiar with Python, now we have a list of 10 JSON records. We have to convert it into a data frame. So I will go ahead and make a pandas data frame. So the way I do it is pd.data frame, and then I give it train records, and what I will get in return is a pandas data frame, and I call it df train. So boom, and let's go ahead and see what does this pandas data frame look like. So pandas data frame dot head, it will give us first 5 records. So as you can see, now we have this nice data frame with the 6 columns that we saw earlier. Okay, so now we have pandas data frame. Don't worry if you didn't follow this. It's just basically reading records from a file. And since we are going to need this more often, in the next video we are going to convert it into a method so we can easily read it, and you can just use this code without thinking much about it. Okay, so now this is where I will end the video for the first part, and in the next part we will pick up from here and do some exploratory data analysis. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.